Well, I was in this group here.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
There you are.
Michael Collins grew up with his sights set on the stars. But he joked the one he actually orbited, Earth's moon, wasn't the destination of his dreams.
I'm a Martian. I think Mars is the next great destination.
While he never set foot on Mars, nor the moon, Collins made history as part of NASA's groundbreaking core of astronauts selected for the Apollo missions of the 1960s and 1970s. He was the fourth human to conduct a spacewalk during the Gemini program, but it's his role as the Columbia Command Module pilot during the 1969 Apollo 11 mission, when astronauts landed on the moon for the first time, that he is remembered for most. His job was to pilot the spacecraft, orbiting the moon alone while Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin explored the surface. After a rendezvous, they all returned safely to Earth. Collins credited the thousands of workers on the ground at NASA for the historic achievement of their mission and the overall success of the Apollo program.
It was a wonderful example of organization within a large government agency. That's something we don't see too much of today.
After traveling around the world celebrating the Apollo 11 mission, he retired from NASA. While working at the U.S. State Department, Collins was tapped to be a liaison for NASA to the White House during the 1970 Apollo 13 crisis.
Houston, we've had a problem.
He updated President Richard Nixon on the status of getting the crippled spacecraft safely back to Earth.
And he wanted really somebody to tell him yes or no.
The answer was yes, and Collins believed Apollo 13, known as NASA's successful failure, was a turning point for American interest in crewed spaceflight.
It made NASA and the American public more aware of some of the hazards involved in flying to the moon and back, and I think it focused attention.
Collins wrote about his life as an Air Force test pilot and his missions into space and the moon in a 1974 book titled Carrying the Fire. In interviews with VOA, Collins preferred to look ahead rather than behind, and he said there was a lack of momentum and urgency in accomplishing new goals in space.
Astronauts and former astronauts, we're very pro-space, so I'm pro-accelerating the exploration of space.
Collins believed the planet that inspired him as a child, Mars, the subject of his 1990 book Mission to Mars, should be NASA's ultimate focus.
My friend Neil Armstrong thought that going back to the moon was a proper and necessary precursor to a Mars expedition. I'd like to bypass that if possible.
While he did not live long enough to see someone reach the surface of Mars or a return to the moon, NASA's Perseverance rover and Ingenuity helicopter on the surface of the Red Planet today are charting new frontiers in space exploration that have reinvigorated public interest.
I think we're on our way, perhaps more slowly than people would like, but nonetheless we're on our way.
Astronauts are again aiming for the moon as part of NASA's Artemis program, which plans to have crews back exactly where Collins once orbited in the next several years. Kane Fairbaugh, VOA News, Chicago, Illinois.